People deluded. Now, I'm here to speak about a couple players, in fact. We'll start off with Max Aarons. You lot hear me spoke about him before. There's no video specifically, but there's definitely a Q&A vid, and there's a couple others where I spoke about him. You lot know I never lie about these things, because probably under this video will be, yeah, I remember that. Max Aarons is a player I like a lot, man. Prior to this season, if my chronological time mapping is right, and I'm not speaking about last season, I like what I see. I ain't got extensive knowledge, and I'm not watching Norwich every week. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I mean, who is, unless you support Norwich, no disrespect. But I like him. He had to be patient. He got his chance in pre-season, and he ran with it. He's a competent defender. He can contribute going forward. I do think he can improve his crossing and positional-wise, but these are all things, in regards to his age, he's 18 or so years of age. These are all things you would look at, so it's not out of the norm. I think he's fair. He's got a decent set of lungs, or decent set of legs on him. He's no slouch. He's not slow. Positionally, he can improve, but he shows a willingness to be switched on. His mentality is good. He doesn't get scared if he makes a mistake and things like that. He's a decent tackler, and he's okay going forward. Like, the potential is there from him. He does the basics right, and he's fairly composed on the ball. Can also play on the left. He can play at left back as well. That probably won't be him, but just nice to know someone can be adaptable. He's just an intelligent footballer. Like, you can tell he's someone that tactically understands football despite his young age. If I remember rightly, I'm so sure I saw an article. The Norwich Academy manager, or the Norwich actual manager, was the one that had to push or force Max Aarons' case onto the England youth sides to select him. To get involved at that level, and to be fair, he deserves it, because he's had a good season, and you're seeing 15 million. It probably is worth it to a degree. I would love Vontae Daly-Gamble to get chances, so I feel in two minds about asking for Max Aarons, but I would love him to come to the club if he could. He isn't afraid to put his body on the line, and he's brave as well. Heading can improve, but he's not poor in. I wouldn't say he's necessarily poor in these things. I wouldn't say he's necessarily atrocious at anything. It's a case of just bringing him up a level. If I'm him, though, I would stay at Norwich, and even if he was to say, alright, cool, I'm going to join Arsenal or Spurs, I would just ask to stay at Norwich, because at the end of the day, you're playing games. Yeah, you can make the case of it's a different sort of ball game, training with Norwich to training with Arsenal or training with Spurs, and using their facilities and things like that. But at the end of the day, playing games is playing games. So I like him. I'd love him to come to the club. Another fullback, and if you're from the Caribbean, you can see why I like Bogle. I mean, who doesn't like that name, Bogle? I'm gonna just keep calling him Bogle. No disrespect. I like him, man. I like him. I got a lot of time for him. I got a lot of time for Bogle, man. I mean, he's doing his thing. If I remember rightly, he's against. I really was taking him in. Was it Man United he played at Old Trafford, and he was getting ripped, but I like the way he held it up. I feel another one who does the basics right. I feel he's fairly competent going forward. He probably needs to improve off the ball more than Max Aarons, but he's a player I've got a lot of time for. He's 18, he's committed, decent positioning similar to Aarons, like I said, a good engine, and he put in a good performance against Wigan, definitely man of the match in my opinion, and United. And obviously, if you're obviously sitting and watching Derby more than me, you're seeing not just him, you're seeing Wilson, Harry Wilson. I mean, he has to have a Premier League loan next year if he's not going to be involved in Liverpool action. You're seeing Tomori of Chelsea being okay as well. You're seeing a lot of young players. Mason Mount obviously gone off the ball a bit, but you're seeing a lot of young players being played by Frank Lampard and being taught by Jody Morris. So they're doing all right, man. I think Bogle, I keep calling him Bogle is someone that could get a Prem move eventually, to be fair with you. He's best probably served just staying at Derby and just playing games and things like that. Well, it is what it is. He's not a fullback, but you've obviously got Harvey Barnes. I think he's been impressing me. He impressed me in the Toulon tournament for England, but I didn't think much of him, and I hold him in a bit higher regard now. I'm seeing him score goals. I'm seeing him decide games. I'm seeing an improved work ethic. He's bossing the Championship, and it's no surprise why Leicester want to recall him from his loan spell. If I was him, maybe if they're not going to play you 100%, you say you want to stay at West Brom because you're having a good year, but it's up to him, and he knows better than me. And I'd also probably Cuenca, Corella, or Mark Corella. Those of you who know him, he plays for Barcelona. He's in his 20s. He's a decent attacking left back. Now, if I remember rightly, it was Eibar versus Valladolid that I watched. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but he is very. I've always thought he's decent for Barca going forward. He can improve defensively, but he's a very good attacking fullback. And It looks like Miranda, you saw him play against Spurs for Barcelona, another one I've watched play, and he's a very good left back. I'd actually keep both, but you've got to remember Jordi Alba's still there. It looks like Mark Corella will get cut loose, and I personally feel we should look at him. Can improve defensively, but purely for his offensive potential, we could potentially look at him. Obviously, we've gone from being a French managed club to now a Spanish one with Spanish countrymen. That could be another pool, knowing he's got countrymen that understand him and things like that, and help him adapt to the club. Can't imagine Barcelona are going to ask for a fortune for him, so it could be a very shrewd investment and potentially one we could make profit on. Because I do think he's a decent player, and it's smart of him to go on loan, to be honest, rather than playing for Barcelona B. And I got a lot of time for him. Admittedly, there's a lot of other left backs I look at before I look at him at this moment in time with his current ability, but he's someone I would look at, to be fair with you people. So yeah, man, in short, Bogle, Harvey Barnes, Max Aarons, Mark Renko, these are all videos I wanted to do individually, and people have been asking me to speak about these sort of players. So I thought, let me knock the ball on its head, to be fair with you. And yeah, like, we've spoken about them now, so I'm gonna get out of your hair, people. DG, comment, subscribe, and do the rest if you wish.